Testing, checking audio for Cat's broadcast. Test 1, 2, check 1, 2.
What? Do we have a flood here or something? There's that fan on.
I just want to let everyone know who's already online that we will begin the meeting as soon as we have a quorum, which we expect to have in a few minutes. So thank you for joining us and thank you for your patience.
Tech services, is it possible that for the screen up front that the plan commission could see the panelists? Thank you.
Again, if you've joined us, we're just waiting for another member of the Plan Commission to join in person. And we'll have a quorum when he arrives, and then we'll begin the meeting. So please bear with us. Thank you. When it's out, that's when I. It's okay. Can I just sign it with a regular pen?
That's the debating.
Okay. Okay, no problem. Yeah, I know this is that Stone Lake Circle back there, everything next to the last.
Yeah, it's just an amendment. Dave's getting one from downstairs. Thank you. It's an amendment to the existing one.
So the major.
Right where the foundation wall is, so that's when they can use it like. And then this one we saw at the.
Okay, and I'll sign it once it gets up.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's so good to see you.
Sorry for wasting time.
It's okay. I'm gonna just go ahead and call the meeting to order. And with that, I'd like to thank Tammy Behrman for serving as the director of the planning department during Jackie's absence. And I'd like to welcome Jackie Jelen Nestor back as the director of the planning department. And it's good to see you and have you back. And thank you for your service, Tammy.
Yes,
Yes.
glad to be back. So I'll go ahead and call the roll.
Thank you.
Tron and Wright Randolph,
Here.
Bernie Garitas, Jeffrey Morris,
Here.
Cheryl Munson, Edward Holman,
Here.
Dee Owens,
Here.
Jerry Pittsford,
Here.
Julie Thomas,
Here.
Margaret Clemens,
Here.
Chris Cockrum. So we have 5 members attending in person and 2 virtual, so we have a quorum.
Okay, is there a motion to introduce the evidence?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to introduce the evidence. I'd like to introduce the following items into the evidence. The Monroe County zoning ordinance as adopted and amended. The Monroe County comprehensive plan as adopted and amended. The Monroe County subdivision control ordinance as adopted and amended. The Monroe County Plan Commission rules of procedure as adopted and amended, and the cases that were legally advertised and scheduled for a hearing on tonight's agenda.
Move to approve?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the introduction of evidence. Jeffrey Morris,
Yes.
Edward Olman,
Yep.
Dee Owens,
Yes.
Jerry Pittsford,
Yes.
Julie Thomas,
Yes.
Margaret Clemens.
Yes.
Tron and Wright Randolph.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 7-0.
Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda as posted?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Motion in favor is a motion to approve the agenda. Edward Olman,
Yep.
Dee Owens,
Yes.
Jerry Pittsford,
Yes.
Julie Thomas,
Yes.
Margaret Clemens.
Yes.
Tron and Wright Randolph,
Yes.
Jeffrey Morris.
Yes.
Motion is approved 7-0.
Okay, great. There are no minutes to approve tonight, so we're moving on to administrative business. And the first item under administrative business is refund request R 23-607 in the amount of $200.
This refund request is for a building permit for the improvement location permit fee of $200. We had a resident of the county come in and describe that they had tornado damage to their property and they were picking up their building permit and wanted to know if we had any sort of waiver of our fees for reconstruction. We do not have any kind of waiver in place, so the other option is to request a refund. They wanted to go ahead and submit photos of the damage as well for the Plan Commission to consider. So here is the property,
Oh, my.
and it sustained significant damage from the tornado in March of 2023. So
Okay.
I can take any questions that you have.
Does anyone have questions for staff?
Yeah, it's called an improvement location permit. Is that what you said, Jackie?
Yes, that's planning's permit that they issued to go along with the building permit. That's when we check for setbacks, location, any environmental constraints.
Okay, thank you.
And I see Commissioner Thomas has her hand raised.
Yes, thank you. I certainly support refunding the fee. We've already worked with the building department and created a new fee structure when there is a natural disaster for those building permits. So it would be nice to do the same in planning, as long as they're using the same footprint. I think if they change the footprint of the building, then obviously you have to check for setbacks and all of those things. I think the only concern I have going forward, and it'd be great if staff would work on this. The only concern I would have going forward is if a building is a non-conforming grandfathered application, and if that's the case, what would we want to do with that? I don't know the answer, but I want to throw that out there. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
well, this
I-
is under administrative business, so we're not required to have public input, and I wonder if there's a motion.
I'll make a motion, but I wanted to add to that. I think that's a fantastic idea and it was indicated that we should look into that. I was wondering, how could we make that more of a formal request? Because I think that's a fantastic idea. And maybe we could just leave it to planning to bring it to us. It looks like our director shook her head indicating that that might be something they're able to do, because I do think that that's a fantastic idea.
Yes, we have that actually as the next item for your review under administrative business. So we'll take a look at it and see if we can get something moving forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, just anything that can fast track that seems
Is
like
that a motion?
worthwhile. My motion is to go ahead and refund. Is it refund? Yeah, refund the $200.
Second,
Okay, please call the roll, Ms. Nestor Jelen.
It's been moved and seconded to refund R 23-607 for a total of $200 back to the applicant. A vote in favor is a vote to approve the refund request. Edward Olman,
Yes.
Dee Owens,
yes.
Jerry Pittsford,
Yes.
Julie Thomas,
Yes.
Margaret Clemens.
Yes,
Sean Enright Randolph,
Yes.
Jeff Morris.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
and we'd just like to give Mr. Schroem our best wishes and good luck going forward on his property and wish his family health and happiness and safety in the future. Moving forward to item number 2 on administrative business, a discussion of the fee schedule to waive fees for casualty due to fire, flood, wind, and explosion damage.
Yes, so the building department has gone through a change of their fee schedule regarding natural disasters and lowering their fees. And so it was brought to our attention, and then with the prior refund request and the number of severe storms and weather that we've been having, we think it's important to have a discussion about our current fee schedule and whether the plan commission thinks it's appropriate to have some sort of line item for reconstruction specifically to residential structures. So right now in our fees, we have information for a single family residential. If it's being rebuilt or if it's a new single family residence, it's $200. We have lower fees. If it's a residential addition, it's only $100. And for accessory structures, it's $50. So we felt it was appropriate to potentially take forward a request to consider improvement location permit for single family reconstruction or residential structure reconstruction for a total of $50. I do note that Julie Thomas's point about pre-existing non-conforming structures. We would want to make sure that a structure could be issued an improvement location permit prior to considering this fee. So if something was non-conforming, it would have to still be considered under Chapter 803. And if it were not to be able to be eligible for another permit, we would not be able to reduce the fee or issue a permit. So I think that may be taken care of by the ordinance. But some other considerations is just to confirm the natural disaster, making sure that it's by natural causes. I believe the building department, their discussion was that they would go out and view the property and confirm the damage. And from there, they'd be able to determine that it was significant and the damage was by natural cause.
Well, I think that, I appreciate the good thought that has gone into this and also the goodwill that has gone into this. But I'd like to open it up to the colleagues here on the Plan Commission. And I see a bubble on the chat. I don't know if Dee has a comment, but I know Julie Thomas has her hand raised as well. So let's start with Commissioner Thomas.
Thank you. I don't think $50 is onerous, so I'm okay with that because somebody is going to have to go out and look at the property. So there's a cost to that. I'm okay with that. I wonder if we also want to include commercial establishments as well, especially because this would be catastrophic storm damage, flooding, tornado, etc. So I just want to throw that out there. Thanks.
Is it possible to amend this to include commercial right now, or would it have to be noticed?
No, it's possible since it's administrative business. We don't actually require a separate improvement location permit fees for commercial. We only require site plans. So if there was a reconstruction of a commercial building and they had an approved site plan and they built to that same footprint, I don't believe they would be incurred any charge.
Okay, I didn't know if you would be reviewing site plans if it's the same footprint. Thank you. That helps. Thanks.
And to answer Mr. Shelton's question, he wrote a note in the chat. The agenda is in the packet, which is on the co.monroe.in.us website. And when you click on the calendar, you can see the Plan Commission meeting, and then a link to both the meeting and to the packet is there. So I hope, and the packet contains the agenda. So I hope that that answers your question. And if it doesn't, please write again in the chat and we'll respond. Yes, Mr. Pittsford.
First of all, could staff put that link in the comments? That would simplify that. The second question I have says from casualty due to fire, flood, etc. Is that wildfire exclusively in this application, or is that all causes of fire domestic residentially? Because that is not specific.
Yes, so we had a discussion about fire that may occur just as one-to-one residence or one house. I don't believe I would consider that natural causes, but if you would like to add in something that would cover that type of situation, we could become more specific with this.
Yeah, I think you may want to refer to it as significant environmental fires or, wildfire. I know the term forest fire has kind of gone to the wayside. Smokey the Bear told me that they weren't using that anymore. No more forest fire, they're saying wildfire. So maybe if you just change that to wildfire, because the way it's written right now, if someone lost their house due to any kind of domestic fire, it would qualify. Because fire is natural, whether it happens by a match set to a gasoline in the garage, can of gasoline in the garage, or a forest fire that burns to your residence, it's still natural.
Okay,
I'd like to
Yes,
comment on that.
yes, Dee.
I don't know anybody except perhaps your neighborhood arsonist who sets fire to a house. House fires are accidental almost exclusively. I don't think that is a distinguishing feature.
No, I was saying that, sorry, Dee, that was a poor example. If the home fire begins in a kitchen, it's a flue fire, it is a candle knocked over into the curtains, all those kind of domestic residential fires, the fire itself is a natural occurrence, but it is not occurring because of natural disaster. And the way this is stated, it says fire or damages caused by natural causes. Well, fire is still a natural cause. The origin of the fire is not coming from nature itself with a capital N, nature.
Yeah, and conversely, then, if an arsonist does set fire to my house, I'm still not eligible, and I didn't do it. I don't understand why it's important to distinguish between natural versus human caused disaster is all.
Well, because you have other terms here, fire, flood. You can have a flood that's not the result of rising waters in a creek or that sort of thing. So I just don't think it's specific enough is my only point. But if we want to dance around on definitions, I'm going to defer that to somebody else.
Okay, Mr. Morris.
I think this is a good conversation, but it seems to me like the commonality here is that it's relating to somebody who's suffering from some sort of tragedy. Then, they're probably suffering from a hardship financially just due to the loss of their house or partial loss of their house. So it seems to me like we would word it to include a house fire or a single fire, not a natural disaster necessarily.
Okay, we'll wait for this bell to ring and then Mr. Enright Randolph.
Mine's going back to the packet. Sorry, I was maybe having the same issue. Thanks, Jim, for jumping in there. If you're searching for that and in the title, it filters it and it says Plan Commission Packet. It's not going to bring up today's packet. You have to make sure the title only says Plan Commission. I was not able to get the packet either due to that, and I'm just now catching up. Hence, I didn't know that we had some of this under the administrative business. I concur with the discussion today. That I think we need to put a finer point on this. Personally, I think if we can relieve any cost on someone that has to deal with any kind of catastrophic issue or loss of property, that we should try to subsidize their permitting fees. So that's my position on this discussion. But yeah, I think we could put just a finer point on there to encompass that. I'm not sure if that was the intent of this discussion, but I think it's an added idea and comment. And honestly, I would be in complete support of reducing any cost on anyone that has to deal with a loss such as a home or a structure on their property. So.
Okay, so yes, Mr. Ullman.
If I may ask Jackie a question.
Sure.
What is the extent of this residential structure permit in terms of like, if you have flooding in a finished basement and you have to do a whole remodel of Is that still require this permit, or is it only of like a full reconstruction of the home is required?
It's a good question. So if there's a remodel occurring and, you know, let's say the height is still intact and everything, it's just the basement, we would actually not charge a fee regardless. We don't have a fee for remodel since it does not involve any footprint change.
Okay, but then now let's say you had a fire, a garage fire, and it burns off the garage half of your house. But the residential portion is still there, still part of your footprint is destroyed and you have to rebuild a portion of your footprint.
Yes, that would require a fee in that
Okay.
event.
So I'd like to ask members of the Plan Commission if you have proposals for changes in the wording so that we can consider this and vote on it. Yes, Mr. Enright Randall.
I mean, I don't have suggestions. I was comfortable for maybe deferring to planning staff to put something together.
Okay,
And then it could be contingent on them, you know, preparing it. I guess the real question I have, are we trying to do this for just natural causes, or are we trying to do this for anyone that kind of sustains such a loss?
I'm going to turn now to Dee Owens. She has her hand raised.
Thank you. The easy way to fix this is to remove caused by natural causes. That's redundant anyway.
Also
But-
to add commercial, as Julie had suggested.
Yes,
As-
yeah.
Yes, Mr. Pittsford.
There's no need to
I
add
did a
commercial.
quick- I just did a quick definition search, and casualty insurance is actually a term of art
Yes.
in the insurance industry. So when you make a reference to casualty here and you're talking about loss, I think it kind of creates a blurry picture. So when you look at the definition, casualty insurance is insurance that covers or is coverage against loss that is accident or property damage that is due to theft, liability, explosion, etc. But it does not include fire. So when you say casualty insurance, when you talk about life, fire, and casualty insurance, house fires would not be covered under casualty insurance. But a flood would probably be covered under that. So I would just, I just want to make note of that because it is a term of art. So we want to be careful not to wander into using those terms that might have legal implications without understanding them.
I just want to check in the chat to make sure that any members of the Board of the Plan Commission.
I think we're okay. This is Tron asking to be a panelist.
Julie
Okay.
has her hand up.
Oh, yes, Commissioner Thomas.
Yeah, it sounds like the site plan review doesn't have to happen for commercial, so I don't think we need to include commercial. I would assume that this is something you're gonna have to bring back anyway, because this is administrative right now. Is that correct?
I believe we can go ahead and vote on this as administrative business to change the fee schedule. Is that correct?
Yeah, the ordinance authorizes the plan commission to adopt fee schedule, so it's not actually an ordinance.
Okay,
Is there-
thank you.
Motion to approve this.
Oh.
Yes, Mr. Ullman.
I'm sorry, I know you're trying to keep things moving, but I'm kind of hung up in a halfway point between kind of some of the comments that Jerry's making and some of the other comments being made, and because I find this opportunity for there being a pigeonhole where people can try to sneak in on that lower rate fee if we take out that natural causes phrase, or if we don't more actively define it. And I'm thinking about scenarios like, let's say somebody misses a turn and runs a truck through your house, or situations like that. And I know that we want to be considerate about people going through a hardship, but there's also people that aren't going through hardships that try to take advantage of situations like this. And I don't know, I feel like some of the comments Jerry's making about being more adequately defining some of these terms could be very beneficial. And just, I almost wonder if we need to request a more in-depth definition before we vote on something, but that's
Well,
up to the group to decide.
Is that a motion then to continue this item to the admin meeting, for instance?
I can make a motion to
Okay.
continue this is the administrative business line 2 discussion of fee schedule to waive fees for casualty due to fire, flood, wind and explosion damage to the administrative meeting.
Oh, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay,
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to continue the discussion of fee schedule regarding fees casualty due to fire, flood, wind, explosion damage. A vote in favor is a vote to continue this to the administrative meeting, which is August 1st. Dee Owens,
No.
Jerry Pittsburgh,
Yes. I'm sorry, yes.
Julie Thomas,
Yes.
Margaret
Yes.
Clemens,
yes,
Tron Enright Randolph.
Yes, and with the caveat, if anyone has experienced a loss and we haven't had this ironed out, I would support a refund of what fees they do incur.
Jeffrey Morris,
Yes.
Edward Olman.
Yes.
Okay, so motion passes 6-1 to continue this to August 1st.
okay. Now the next item on administrative business is the CDO update.
Okay, so we were asked by the Plan Commission a few months back to try to put together a few meetings that could occur out in the county jurisdiction or outside of the city of Bloomington limits to discuss the CDO Module 2, specifically the draft zoning map. So we have had over 100 people submit their requests for a change or their approval ratings of the draft zoning map online. But then it was also discussed that we could have people come and voice either their opinions that they've already submitted, or if they would like to attend and voice their opinions for the first time. So now we're ready to go ahead and discuss scheduling those public meetings. So we have identified 5 locations that we think would be appropriate for these types of meetings. We've identified the Ellettsville Town Hall, Benton Township Fire Department. We're contacting them and working with them as well. Ivy Tech, the Southwest Public Library, the new library, and then also possibly the North Showers Building, if we choose a date that overlaps with one of the administrative meetings. So first off, we want to see if those locations may be adequate and go over a few dates with you. So I'm going to look at the dates first. So we're looking at the last 2 weeks in August, as well as the first Tuesday in September, which is the administrative meeting. So we would have the CDO meeting first, and then any administrative business we would leave to the end. And then also September 20th. So we will, I think the best course of action is to send out a doodle poll and try to identify which dates we could potentially get a quorum. We discussed having 4 meetings, so if we can try and get some of those dates settled, these are some of the dates upcoming that staff was available to host these meetings.
Okay,
And then some of the locations that we considered, so we looked at places that have at least capacity for 40 people, that they have Wi-Fi and Zoom capabilities so that we can continue these hybrid meetings. For those that wouldn't like to attend virtually, but there'll be space for people to come in person. Low to no costs for renting of the space. And we want to also consider everyone's schedule and getting a quorum. I want to note that we may end up using certain space multiple times if we find that another location doesn't fit the needs of our scheduling conflicts. And then I also want to go over just a few assumptions that we might have for this meeting, for these public meetings, and discuss with you maybe things that you would like to see happen differently, or if you have different assumptions that will help us to schedule these meetings. So the first assumption is that this would be considered a public meeting, so people would come and be able to speak, and that there would be a quorum of attendance of the Plan Commission. We would have to pull up Elevate GIS on the screen if people were coming to speak about a draft zone that they were either satisfied or dissatisfied with. And so we would be sort of looking at this as they were talking, and we wouldn't really be able to prepare a report in advance like we would a rezone, because we're not sure who's going to ultimately show up and speak. We will have to establish ground rules for the meeting, just so that people understand how much time they are given to speak, how the information from that meeting will be used, things like that. And then we're thinking that the timing for the meeting would be 1.5 hours total. So are there any comments so far, either on the locations of the meetings we're considering or any of these assumptions?
Do members of the Plan Commission have any feedback for staff? Mr. Enright Randolph?
Just kind of going through this prior at the city, I feel like the 1.5 hours could be tight if we do get a good turnout. So that's my comment. I'm thinking if we get 20 plus people, that's going to be very tight. So maybe we could determine how long the meeting is going to be set by the number of attendees. And then I'm guessing there won't be any virtual component to this, or is this going to be, well, it has to be because we adopted the electronic. So are we then going to permit attendees to speak virtually? And if so, that could really increase the number of public comments that we're going to receive.
So the hybrid meeting, the form that was signed by the Plan Commission to allow for hybrid meetings gives you the ability to attend either virtually or in person. I don't believe you are required to hold hybrid meetings, but we are wanting to go ahead and host them hybrid at these locations. That's why we want to make sure that there is Wi-Fi available. Dave, is that correct? Do we? Okay. And then if your point about the 1.5 hours to consider that, I think that's okay. We don't have to establish an end time with the notice, but it's just something that we'd like to make sure that we're clear on before we move forward with the venues to book those, because they will need an end time consideration.
And I guess a follow-up comment to that is maybe we should look at how much time we're going to consider giving the public to speak. Right now, we typically do what, 5 minutes?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. I'd be more curious of what your recommendation would be for that part of this meeting. I don't know, 3 minutes seems a little tight too, when people want to express their opinions about their property, because most likely they might share a personal story of how it relates to their property. So I think permitting the public to speak for about 5 minutes would be more considerate for them to really express everything they want. Those are my thoughts. Again, that makes the 1.5 hour kind of tight.
Any other comments for staff? Yes, Mr. Morris?
I think, not to disagree with you, Tron, I think I'm thinking the opposite, that if we shorten that time down, it gives more people the opportunity to speak within that 1.5 hour period. I think even 2 minutes is a lot of time to share information.
Yeah, and I would like to just suggest too that if we make ourselves available, after the meeting for people to come up and speak with us, and there would be enough of us that some of that, the extra comments that people would want to make could be dissipated. So any frustration that people might have for not having been heard, then we might be able to dissipate that just with our numbers and our availability. But we do want to keep the meeting moving. And we do have end times when we're at other facilities. So. Anyone else?
I just want a second similar thought process on that. I think that we need to keep it shorter than longer, keep the meeting moving, and if somebody has more to say, they can send an email or other comments, so.
Okay. Ms. Owens or Commissioner Thomas, do you have any comments? I can't see them, so I don't know.
I'm satisfied with what I've heard. Thank you.
Yes,
As well, thank you.
okay,
And
Mr. Pittsford.
I just had one late occurring thought, you know,
Yes.
after these, we'll still have administrative meetings going forward. And if we feel like individuals did not get enough time when we went out to see them, we can open administrative meetings, or even if somebody seems to want to go longer than their time, if they would like to call and make a connection with staff and say, hey, there's more that I wanted to say. Is there an opportunity for me to address the full plan commission on this? We could invite them to an administrative meeting, allow them to share without a give and take. We don't want to open the door to y'all come and let's hash it out. But we would be able to give them extended time in that venue, I feel like. So we do have that as a option if we get back into that situation.
And then I have a few follow-up questions. So when we're letting the public know we're going to be having these meetings at these certain locations, you know, assume you can have this much time to speak. That's all very helpful for us to communicate what they can expect. We also would like to make sure that we're clear on what action you would like to take, if any, during these public meetings out in the county following their testimony, such as if someone comes forward and asks for a specific zoning of their property of the draft zone, and you would like to make a recommendation that staff changes the zone, or would you like to make a recommendation that you see it further? If staff would like to gather more information for you to make that recommendation. Since it's a draft zoning map, we can actually make those changes without it. Eventually the entire map will go through the plan commission and the county commissioners. But at this time, with it being a draft, I would like to make it clear to the public that if they come and speak, if there's any action expected by the plan commission at that time, or if you would like to just hear what people have to say and then refer back to it later if it comes up at the very end when you're adopting the map. Or sending a positive recommendation of the map to the commissioners.
Okay, do members of the plan commission have feedback for staff? I'm sorry.
Yes, I just went first last time, so I think allowing staff to field the comments, allow the plan commission to hear them and then come back at a later time, but maybe a way where we could indicate them on a map of particular property owners and their, recommendations to us about their, desired zoning. So, we're able to kind of filter it out a bit. I don't know how administratively difficult that would be, but honestly, I wouldn't want to make any live decisions in the meeting without weighing that decision.
Any other comments? Yes, Mr. Pittsford.
I would just say, because you mentioned staff response, either by gathering further information. I didn't know if that meant specifically for plan commission members or for those present saying, hey, I think it should be this. And, staff would respond by saying, well, let us look into that further. I think you want to be careful not to overpromise and underdeliver, and instead underpromise and overdeliver. So I would be really reluctant for staff to make any kind of commitment to investigate or further a process of reconsideration without plan commission affirming that that is an appropriate response to a concern raised. If the majority of plan commission members would not support the idea of this being re-examined for a different zoning because comprehensive plan or the situation just wouldn't support it, then I think that would be the stopper. So don't extend that too far out until we have a much better notion of what this whole process is going to look like as far as take community input and then drop back, regroup for response.
Okay.
Yeah, especially since there would be so many meetings, we pretty much have to tally the comments across the meetings before we can actually deliberate and see which of the changes from multiple sources, email, et cetera.
And we also would be able to establish patterns, because if we start to hear the same kind of comment about the same kind of zoning or something like that, then we can have a more generalized, or rather, if you would, a blanket response to these concerns. And that way we're not getting to a nitty gritty level that feels personal when people don't get their desired outcome.
So more of a listening session than okay.
Yeah. Interactive and listening. Yes. Is
And
there-
as far as advertising the event, are there certain venues that you would like us to promote advertising to? We typically do our monroecdo.com website. We do the county website. We have a Facebook page, and we have a listserv for anyone that's signed up. And if anyone's willing to spread the word, we do, if it goes out on a listserv, some people may respond to say, can we take this and put it in our listserv? Is all of that, is there any other places we should promote to advertise it to?
Can we get a billboard?
Mr. Enright Randolph?
WTIU. They seem to offer free word of mouth services. I know Councilwoman Marty Hawk does, I'm not exactly sure, like a weekly thing occasionally with one of the hosts. So if you're looking to kind of figure out how to get a contact, I'd reach out to her, and I'm sure she'll put you right in touch with someone that would offer. Or it looks like Jerry might be.
No, I would take that one farther. Marty goes on WGCL with class in the afternoon. I would really like to see a member of planning staff get invited to maybe one of Marty's Wednesday slots and talk about it. Let Marty have a Wednesday off and have planning staff sit down with Mr. Glasscott and have that discussion. I think that would be just fabulous.
And the same is true with WFHB, but boy, the giving notice has really changed since the last time we've been through this, because of the importance of the newspaper has dwindled as a source. So, I don't know if the B Square Bulletin puts any public service announcements in, or I don't know on social media, the older people just aren't on social media, and usually it's
What
speaking for yourself.
what's a newspaper?
Yes, so I don't know,
Margaret, can you define older for our audience, please?
I'll just get in trouble again. Yeah, but I don't know. I think we would need to encourage people to telephone some of the property owners in our community if they have a way. Maybe the township trustees could figure out a way to give notice to residents, because a lot of the property owners don't even really have email. So just to give us a throwback.
I can't believe you went from ageism to ruralism. Well, the old people don't do social media. There's people out in the county that don't have email.
That's all helpful information. So the last bit of updates that I wanted to share with you is that we have received the module 2 draft back from the consultants, and we're taking a look at that. And our goal is to go ahead and review that at staff level and provide the plan commission at an administrative session the cleaned up version so that you can start reviewing that. They've also provided us a red line version of the use tables, which I think will be extremely helpful for discussion of module 2 in particular. And then just a general update, we have $26,219 remaining in the budget for the consultants to do the remaining work of module 3, and as well as any changes to module 2. And as a reminder, module 3 is design standards, parking, landscaping, signs, and so we're well on our way to having a full draft. I know I've said that for many years, but we want to get this moving. And so we want to hear from the public, and we want to bring it all together and get something.
Well, thank you for your good and hard work on this and your perseverance.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Are there any other items with regard to the CDO?
I do not have anything.
Okay, there's no unfinished business, and we're, the first item under new business was continued. And so the second item under new business is a rezone, REZ 23-2, the Shake rezone from Ag RR to MR and Ag RR to LB. This is the preliminary hearing. There's been a request to waive the final hearing concerning 5.04 plus or minus acre parcel in Richland Township, section 24 at 3130 North Smith Pike. And I believe that Mr. Brown will be reviewing this with us.
Thank you. So this is a request from Ag RR to MR and LB with a waiver of final hearing. The petitioner was originally proposing to amend the zoning map so that a 1.05 acre portion of the property is rezoned from agricultural rural reserve to medium density residential. After the plat review committee meeting, however, the petitioner made an addition to the proposal, requesting the sliver of the subject parcel measuring an estimated 0.09 acres also be rezoned as limited business so that it may be added to the LB property directly to the north. The newly proposed 0.96 acre MR lot would satisfy all lot and building requirements listed in chapter 804. And the remaining 0.09 acre sliver will be transferred to adjacent property to the north, again through a subdivision process. Here is the comprehensive plan discussion. Would the committee like me to go through this?
I'm good.
All right. And here are the findings of fact for a rezone. And I apologize if this is a little blurry, but this is the petitioner letter.
Okay.
And here are the maps. The one on the left is the location map showing its location relative to nearby areas. And the one on the right is site conditions map. As you can see, this is a very flat lot. Here is the current zoning map. And on the right is the comprehensive map. Here's some images. The one on the left is a pictometry view of the subject property. The one on the right is a view of the house single family residence that is currently on the property. And here is a field where I believe an accessory structure was on the left, and on the right is an existing carport. Here is the original amendment that was presented to the plan review committee. And here is the updated version that has been presented to PC admin and now to the regular session. And here are the two side by side, the difference of which you may be able to make out. As you can see, there is a sliver here where my mouse is that is going to be added to the LB zoning here. And so the staff recommends forwarding a positive recommendation to the county commissioners based on the petition's compatibility with the Monroe County Comprehensive Plan, with a condition that the petitioner submits appropriate subdivision applications that demonstrates the 1.05 acre portions rezoned as LB and MR as a separate lot of record and with a waiver of the final hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Do members of the Plan Commission have questions for staff? I don't see any. I don't see Dee and Julie with their hands raised. So with that being said, we move to the petitioner. The petitioner would like to speak about this request, or the petitioner's representative. You could, oh, thank you. Hello, please come up to the podium and sign in. Thank you for your patience as we work through the administrative business. And if you would kindly state your name, and you have 15 minutes to talk with us about this.
Hi, my name's Casey Shake, and don't worry, I'm not going to take 15 minutes. So, because Daniel did an excellent job presenting what my proposed plan. I appreciate you guys taking the time to hear my plan out. But basically what I want to do is create a smaller lot for the house. So if for some reason in the near future, I choose to sell that off, I can, and keep vacant ground, keep the agricultural land for agricultural purposes. So the 15 feet sliver, sliding it over, that's to eliminate conflict potentially, because there's a grassy area right next door is the veterinary clinic, which I own. People walk their dogs to eliminate. If the neighbor owns it, that could potentially be a conflict because dogs go over there and urinate and defecate. So I'm just trying to eliminate headaches before they start. So
You're anticipating, that's good.
yes, yeah, trying to prevent anything from happening. But yeah, I just want to keep the ground, as much ground as possible for agricultural purposes. So
Great, great. Do you have anything else to say?
no, that's it. So,
Okay, great. And I'm going to now open this up to the public, and if they have, they can speak for and against it. And if anybody is to speak against it, you would have an opportunity to return to the podium and defend or counter what they say. Okay?
okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Shake. Okay, so are there members of the public who are in support of this petition? If you're in the room or if you're online, please come to the podium, raise your virtual hand on Zoom, or press *9 on the telephone to be recognized. I don't see anyone. Are there members of the public who are opposed to this petition? If so, please come to the podium, raise your virtual hand on Zoom, or press *9 on the telephone to be recognized. Okay, so there's none. I'd like to bring it back to the members of the Plan Commission for further discussion and or a motion.
I'm prepared to make a motion if there's no further discussion.
Great.
Okay, and for the,
Dee has her hand raised.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dee.
No problem. I just, as I said at the administration building meeting, it seems to me like this is just cleaning up the lots and is good. So that's it.
Okay, great. Thank you,
Okay.
Ms. Owens.
Thank you. And I also want to note for the record that Dr. Shake is the veterinarian for the Pittsford family animals, and there is no quid pro quo here because I've had the dog in since, and there was no reduction in price for the services. So there's absolutely no favoritism here and no expectation either. So anyway, with that being said, in case number REZ-23-2, this is the Shake petition for rezone from agro reserve to for a portion of that ground to be zoned limited business and medium residential. It is currently zoned Ag RR and it sits in Richland Township at 3130 North Smith Pike. I would move forwarding this to the Monroe County Plan Commissioners with a positive recommendation and that we waive the second hearing. This motion is subject to an appropriate subdivision application or applications being filed to demonstrate that the 1.05 acre portions rezoned LB and MR are recorded as separate lots for the record.
Second,
Okay,
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to forward a positive recommendation for RZ 23 2. This includes the staff recommended condition that they submit an appropriate subdivision application to demonstrate the 1.05 acre portions rezoned LB and MR are recorded as separate lots of record. And this also includes a waiver of final hearing. A vote in favor is a vote to send a positive recommendation with the condition and the waiver of final hearing. Julie Thomas,
Yes.
Margaret Clements.
yes,
Tron Enright Randolph,
Yes.
Jeffrey Morris,
Yes.
Edward Olman,
Yes.
Dee Owens,
yes.
Jerry Pittsford.
Yes.
Okay, the motion carries 7-0.
thank you, Mr. Shake. Thank you. It goes on now to the commissioners and they will hear it and make a final decision. Thank you. Okay, so we move on now to reports from staff and legal. Are there any reports for us?
I do not have anything.
Okay, is anybody objecting to our dismissal and,
Oh, let's go home.
Move adjournment.
okay, thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. It's good to see you, Jerry. It's been a while.
You weren't at the last administrative meeting and I wasn't at the last regular meeting.
Oh, yeah, it has been a while.
Skipped out, but I
Yeah.
both meetings, that's fine.
Oh, I thought you were coming. I thought I. Yeah, I was in trouble.